Hello everyone and welcome to a very, very special preview. It is World Pool Day at Ascot this Saturday the 18th of October. One of the most celebrated and significant days in world racing. It is Kipco British Champions Day this Saturday and we're going to take you through 6 of the races. Delighted to do so in the company of Graham Cunningham and indeed John Blance alongside, as they have been throughout the entire World Pool British racing season. Let's bring you the first race and show you 1:30. This race run locally, the course map for the brand new race, which is the Kipco British Champions Day 2-year-old conditions race. And it's run over 1,200 metres. And there is that pretty iconic course. It's been used plenty throughout the Royal Meeting as well. 1,200 metres is the distance. And as mentioned, this day inaugurated in 2011, but this is a brand new race, first time this year. Ardesia, Division, Igolai, Gentle George, Chameleon, Kansas, Mission Central, Sir Albert, Siren Suit, Super Soldier, Watcher Snoop, the very significant Words of Truth and Slay Queen. They are your runners. We'll come to the previous clips in a few moments' time, but Graham, I know you wanted to set the scene on what is a special day.
Yeah, hi gents, hi everyone. I think it is a special day. It's a sensational global World Pool Saturday. It starts with the world's best sprinter, Kai Ying Rising. Hong Kong expects against the best of the Aussies in the Everest, world's richest race on turf, and it finishes with some of the best turf horses on the planet doing battle for the Kipco Champion Stakes, with a few other Group 1s in between, this conditions race, and a big time handicap. So I think this is perhaps, and we've done plenty, the most compelling World Pool menu we've ever attacked. Well,
we're looking forward to it. Right, John, let's have a look at maybe the good thing to start the World Pool, Words of Truth, who is already a group winner. We're going to go back to the success at Newmarket 2 starts ago. Does he simply win on Saturday?
Well, yeah, in this brand new race, he's already got the Ascot experience, having won the Crocker Bull Teal in front of our cameras earlier on this season, and then has progressed beautifully since then to this race here at Newmarket, where they went a pretty strong gallop and he won the race in very good style, then went on to Newbury to win a Group 2 level and not penalised for that, Graham.
That's a perfect point. He's a Group 2 winner in a conditions race with no penalty. So his form and his rating, which is 112, is more than good enough to go very close. I would throw in the stat that Charlie Appleby's record on Champions Day has not been that flash, but he backloads his team for the Breeders' Cup at this time of year. So I think he was slightly lucky at Newbury in that an inexperienced horse in front of him into the sky ran a bit green. But he's at least a 107, 108 horse. The handicapper says he's 112. If he runs anywhere near 112, he's going to go very close indeed, isn't he?
Indeed. Right, let's have a look at Division at York just the other day, a week prior, on their final day of the season. On this occasion, John Blance alongside Tom Markmandy Rhodes said the horse needed to know when to get serious, and when the question was asked, he responded.
He did, and this is a good bit better than anything he's produced so far, towards the sharp end. Over on the far side, which can be the place to be at York, it didn't quite work out on this occasion. So, yeah, I think he's definitely the obvious alternative to the favourites.
He's only rated 103, but he's getting better with each run, 3 from 4. And John, having looked like he might have to fight for victory here, watch the way he's getting quite nicely on top at the finish. You have to think a stiff 1,200 at Ascot is a big plus for Division.
You mentioned the races, Graham. Let's go to your selections. It would look to concentrate on Words of Truth, of course, and only a few others. Is that fair?
There are potential improvers in here, several of them. But if you've got a triple figure rating in a conditions race with no penalty, you're on the dance floor. So it's 2, 12, 8 and 1 with Division on top for me, John.
I'm going to go with Words of Truth on top. I think he's going to be the one to beat with the level of rating that he's managed to achieve thus far in his career. Division in there for second. A couple of O'Brien runners have stood their ground. Yes. They're interesting. Mission Central will probably be a little bit too fiery for Ascot straight track. But Kansas, I think, is possibly the best position to go slightly better. But all in all, Words of Truth for me.
It's the new race on Kipco British Champions Day, and I think the Godolphin will win it. Number 12, Words of Truth on top in the first for us. Next race is the first Group 1 that we will preview here on this big World Pool Saturday, Ascot British Champions Day. It's the Kipco Champions Sprint, and it is run like our first preview, the 2-year-old race over the 1,200 metres. And as we familiarise ourselves once again with the course map, it's been a season where the sprinters have been, I think it's fair to say, competitive with one another. Art Power has won this before. Iberian is there. Inisherin, James's Delight, Kind of Blue won this last year, more in a moment. King's Gamble, King Kewen, Lazat, very good horse indeed. Montasib, Group 1 winner. Quinault, you never know when he might pop up. Run to Freedom, 10 Bob Tony, Witness Sound, Big Mojo, Powerful Glory, Spy Chief, Flora Bermuda, No Half Measures, Rosie Affair and Rayevka. Let's go back, John Blance, to this very day last year, and a horse who's always been bred for Ascot, and indeed this race, this day, Kind of Blue, won the day.
Yeah, and this is a race which throws up a lot of horses that run well year on year.
Yeah.
I think Kind of Blue is very much primed to go well on Saturday afternoon, but quite a few to highlight here. There is Kind of Blue, who won from quite a high draw. High draws were prominent here, even given the fact they all gravitated over towards the far side. So it's an interesting kind of irony there. But this horse came into form at a good point in last year and is also in very good form coming into this race this time round. And I think on fast ground shouldn't have a problem either. Flora Bermuda is a very, very good performer, but I think she's slightly better on the softer ground, which she's not going to get. And of course, this took place on soft ground, Graham. A lot of these turned up at Haydock the other week.
Yeah, the Haydock Spring Cup has been a very valuable guide to this race over the years. So let's pick them up. And when we pick up this Haydock race, I'm adamant that this was a very draw-dependent race. The numbers speak for themselves, chaps. Drawn 15, 19, 16 and 13, the first four. Let's pick them up one by one. No half measures. July Cup winner Lazat back down to even money. Wasn't on the right part of the track. On the left, you can see the Big Mojo and to a lesser extent Flora Bermuda, who was slightly squeezed here, were both in the right place at the right time. This is a breakthrough performance for Big Mojo, his first Group 1 win. Have a look at that grey filly, just about to be squeezed in the Wathnan colours. You can see that she just gets checked at an important time. Kind of Blue runs a belter. You get the picture here, gentlemen. There are not much between the main players. Nothing against Big Mojo, but I think he had the perfect track position. Flora of Bermuda, I like for several reasons. She's a good class filly, she's consistent, and this may creep slightly under the radar. Saturday will be the first time she's had a She Murphy on board for 12 months.
OK. They've got a strong hand, the owners, in this particular race. Right, throwing it all into the mix, Graham, please can I have your selections?
Yeah, Lazat didn't get a chance to show what he could do. He was backed off the boards at Haydock, but he wasn't in the best position. I'm going back 3 runs. Saturday, Ascot QE2 Jubilee, a high-class field. He and Satono Rev, the Japanese star, came well clear of Flora of Bermuda, Inisherin and the rest of a good field. He hasn't quite replicated that form since, but he didn't get a chance to shine last time. With a midfield draw, back to Ascot, right on the pace. I'm hoping Lazat can sneak in and snatch the champion sprinter crown.
Yeah, quite similar numbers for me, but I'm going to go with Kind of Blue on top to repeat the dose from 12 months ago. Draw looks OK, so we'll see, but I think Kind of Blue can score here. Lazat in there for second. Big Mojo was probably convenienced by the draw at Haydock, but ran a good race in the July Cup on probably the wrong part of the track. So I think there's lots to like about this horse's body of work this season. And Rayevka has been a bit disappointing since Royal Ascot, but it was a very good run at Royal Ascot. I think she could go quite well, and obviously the rain has not come, which I think is a plus for her as well, so she can sneak in, but Kind of Blue to repeat.
I am with one of yours here, Rayevka. I'm going to take a chance, 3-year-old filly. I think she's got a fair setup in the race. Team Calandagan, who we will be talking about in a few moments or a few races' time. I think they can be off with a sneaky one in the champion sprint, number 20, to win the race for me. Race 4 on the day, but the third World Pool race to focus on this Saturday, live from Ascot, Kipco British Champions Day. It is the Champion Filly and Mares race, and we are stepping up in trip markedly. 2,400 metres is the distance, and they'll take in all corners just about of the pretty iconic Ascot racecourse. Very iconic. These are the runners. 10 declared. Danielle Estrange, she didn't run in the Arc. Kalpana's back for more. Latakia, One Look, Quixisana, Ballet Sippers, Bedtime Story, Wardar, and We Might Take De Long Way. They are the 10 who stand their ground for Saturday. And that includes Graham Cunningham, last year's brilliant winner of this, Kalpana. She's back for more. Yes,
what if I told you that 5 defending champions have come back to try and win this race on the backup? None of them have finished better than 4th, but very few of them, if any, come back with credentials like this filly. Bigger field last year, John, easier ground. but she runs out a dominant winner. And although she hasn't won this season, she's kept the very best of company, and she split Calandagan and Rebel's Romance in the King George over course and distance. So I'm not particularly worried about drying ground. She ran in the Arc last week, and she didn't have an easy race. You never do in a race like that. But considering she was trapped wide with no cover, I thought she did very well in the circumstances. If she's anything like the filly who dominated this race last year, she is a major, major player. I have to have her on top for the simple reason that she's a proven Group 1 filly, and a few of these have the credentials to prove at elite level.
Yeah, they certainly do. I thought she got the run of the race here. I mean, she was still clearly the best, but there's a place you need to be on the track in this contest, which is 2 or 3 wide from a wideish gate, and then she was able to pounce with no traffic problems at all. As Graham said, the form's a little bit in and out. She was unlucky in the Arc, no doubt about it. If it had rained, I'd have been very keen on her on top, but I'm just slightly concerned on this fastest ground against 1 or 2 quite big improving fillies.
And if you're worried about the quick backup, 14 Arc meeting runners have gone on to win on Champions Day in the same year, including a couple in this race. So I'm not going to hold the quick backup against Kalpana. I just think she might be the best filly in the race.
First year in the new job for Colin Keane, and first of the big 2 on the day for him. He's got Field of Gold to come. I've gone a little bit cool on Kalpana ever since being very hot midsummer. But anyway, she is the defending champion. John, talking of the Arc, Estrange, they didn't go there. They didn't go to France. Are they going to be fully vindicated by Saturday or not?
They might be. I was all ready to be against this filly for the Yorkshire Oaks because she hadn't really run a proper figure prior to a Group 1 race here, but they ran a solid gallop the whole way. Obviously, Minnie Hawk nearly won the Arc the other week, and she ran really well, this grey filly Estrange, and I think the faster ground wasn't an issue there. It shouldn't be an issue on Saturday afternoon. Stall 1 can be a little bit of a problem in this race, but she's one of the better rated horses in the race. I don't think that's going to be a huge issue, and I can see her in the numbers.
She was on her way to Paris. She got drawn 18. And then she scored badly. I'm not saying the two things were related. What I am saying is if David O'Mara thinks he's got a good horse, he's generally bang on. So I have to think she's got a strong, strong chance, this filly. She has it to find on bare form with Kalpana, but I think she's only had half a dozen runs. So every reason to believe that she'll run up a really good race this weekend, I think.
OK, this race, John, has gone to... You look at some of the horses that have won it in recent years and some that are just coming to the boil, improving towards the end of the season. Is Wardar in that bracket?
She could be. The piece of form that we're going to see here at Goodwood, I thought was very, very promising. He looked at 2 or 3 times before finally coming to that conclusion. Managed to bowl together 2 sub-11 sectionals here in the closing stages as they sprinted for home. Was parked wide most of the way. Danielle's a pretty good form yardstick. So I thought this was obviously a Group 2, but it's the kind of performance which suggested she can make the step up to Group 1 level, and the fast ground shouldn't be a problem, so I like her chances.
I do. I think she's a solid place contender. 3-year-olds have had a very good record in this.
Yeah.
I thought she got to the front ahead of Danielle and just put a cue in the rack to a certain extent. I think she was idling a little bit. She's less exposed than Danielle. I would expect her to increase the gap over that filly this weekend.
OK. This is the great thing about the opinions, because I'm going to put that wild one a little bit later. After your selections, please.
3, 2, 9 and 10. I fear Estrange because we don't yet know exactly how good she might be. She might be very good, but we know that Kalpana is capable of running to a mark of 120 plus when she brings her A game. Her B plus game would take a close here. Kalpana ahead of Estrange. 3, 2, 9, 10 in the Fillies emerge, John.
Same trio, but shuffled up. I'm going to go with Wardar on top to confirm the promise of that Goodwood run. Estrange in for second, Kalpana for third. Bedtime Story for fourth. There's quite a lot of pace engaged in this race. Ballet Slippers, Island Hopping, We Might Take the Long Way. Bedtime Story's a hold-up filly, and she might be coming through in Abba Place late doors. But the improving Wardar on top for me.
It's an ugly one from me, and it is. But I think that Danielle could be a sporting alternative to reverse that form, back down in trip, because I think that's what she wants. Oisin Murphy on Champions Day, the champion jockey to ride for Jonathan Gosden, who's got a good book. It's a price thing. Best of luck, whatever you're going for. The next race that we preview is one of the big 2. It is the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, the mile championship race, 1,600 metres straight. And it's always been a big race at Ascot, but it has its home since 2011 on this very card. And in fact, in that year, the first year of Champions Day, the best of the lot won it, Frankel. These are the 16 who go forward this year. Carl Spackler, Cicero's Gift, Dancing Gemini, Docklands at his favourite track, Factor Cheval, the improving Never So Brave, Coudoir, Rosalian. It's not been his year. Could that all change on Saturday? Alakazi, Fallen Angel, what a mare she is. Field of Gold, Marvelman, Tamfana the Lion in Winter, Exactly, and January. We started the World Pool, Graham Cunningham, by talking about the 2000 Guineas, and it was one of the most talked about races afterwards because of Field of Gold. Field of Gold wraps up the World Pool by appearing in the QE2. Does he win on Saturday?
I hope he does. I think he's going to polarise betting opinions because he ran poorly when last seen in the Sussex Stakes, and we'll come to that in a moment. But here, John, after a luckless performance when he was given too much to do in the English Guineas, he comes sweeping down the outside. Colin Keane for the first time, takes no chances, gives him plenty of room to operate, and he produces this sustained burst of acceleration. That's the good thing about this horse when he's right. When he quickens, he keeps going and he puts spaces in rivals. Now, this was a very good performance, and he followed it with a wow performance at Royal Ascot, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and they'll be delighted that the rain has not come because he can really demonstrate his brilliance on a fast track, which he'll get at Ascot on Saturday afternoon. I'm interested that he's back on a straight mile as well, because, of course, that Newmarket race we referenced was down the straight rolling mile, has been round a bend since then. I think he's going to get into a lovely rhythm here against a strong pace.
We haven't got the VT of the St James's Palace Stakes, but that was a wow performance. The 3 Guineas winners were all on deck, Henri Matisse and Ruling Court, and he made 2 classic winners look double ordinary, and that is the hallmark piece of form in this year's QE2.
We're about to see successive defeats for Rosalien. Look away now if you are a fan of this horse. 5 defeats altogether this year. John Blance, 3 of which a nose, a neck and a short head. It's been pretty difficult stuff. We'll have a look at his run at Goodwood, where the shock of all shocks was the winner. Field of Gold we haven't seen since, and Rosalien, of course, best of the rest. Just yet another chapter in a pretty luckless year.
Yeah, well, this was the worst of the lot at Goodwood as well, really, given what happened with Kierat, the 2 pacemakers. It was just really his look away now stuff, because of the horses that were ridden at the back of the field, he was quite clearly the best, but he wasn't able to overhaul Kierat, who was a bit of a course specialist at Goodwood, who was given too much rope. So it's just been that kind of year for Rosalien, Graham. Absolutely.
Richard Hannon, his trainer, says he has looked like the champion miler. He's also looked like a horse who's lost 5 on a run. And this was the one that got away because Kierat at 150 to 1 stole the show with a pacemaking performance. He's run again since, twice at York and Longchamp, and although he's run well, he was beaten twice again.
Yes, let's have a look at York and get the thoughts. Graham, I'll go to you. This brand new race, well, not brand new race, sorry, newly created Group 1 race, and it was won by a horse on the up in the form of Never So Brave. Good old Rosalien was there again.
I like him to run well, Never So Brave. Yes, he didn't have a lot in hand at York, and this looks a slightly deeper race, but not massively deeper if Field of Gold isn't quite on his A game. Pick him up in the yellow cap, the blue jacket, and he just stalks, pounces at the right time. And although he didn't have a lot in hand, John, the 3rd and the 4th and the 7th have all polished this form to a certain extent. He's got the Ascot form, and since he joined Andrew Balding, he's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah, I love this horse. I think he's got a terrific chance on Saturday afternoon. Maybe not to win, but he'll not be too far away. The 8 furlongs at Ascot, that surge he produced in the Summer Mile in July was a terrific effort, albeit round the bend. But of course, he won the big handicap over the 7 furlongs with a terrific late surge as well. 8 furlongs straight, Ascot, perfect for him. He'll go very, very well.
Let's have a look at one of the star mares about, and she is that. Well, she's not even a mare, she's still a filly, she's a 4-year-old, but she's won 5 Group 1s, Fallen Angel. I know she's done it generally away from Britain. It's been, well, in Ireland, that's where we see the best of her, and she won her first, I think, British Group 1 just the other day, Graham, when she won the Sun Chariot. She's a star, Fallen Angel.
She is, but she's a star in the Fillies division. This is her first time against elite males. And she's won more Group 1s than any other horse in this race. I'm pretty sure that's correct. She comes clear here with Blue Bolt in the Juddmonte colours. Conditions unusual here, John. Following wind, drying ground, breaks the track record. She is the on-pace runner in the field, but turning away wave after wave of elite challengers here is not going to be easy, surely.
Yeah, going all the way in a Group 1 down the straight mile at Ascot is not an easy trick to pull off. She's done very well this year. She was a little bit fortunate with some of the leads she got in some of her big wins earlier on in her career, but she's had some tough jobs on in front recently, and she's still managed to be up to them. But I think here, she's on a minor line, but I don't think she'll win.
I thought there was a time she was going to just fizzle away this summer, but none of it, and it sounds as though she's going to stay in training next year, which is great as well. Right, the QE2, in a nutshell, your selections, please.
This year's QE2 revolves around one question. Can we forgive Field of Gold for his eclipse in the Sussex Stakes. I hope we can, because prior to that, he'd looked a world-class miler. Colin Keane has a chance to shine on Field of Gold. I think there might be a sting in his finish here. 11, 6, 5 and 8, Field of Gold, and Never So Brave on top in the QE2, John.
Yeah, Field of Gold for me as well. Let's hope he gets a better run down a straight 8 furlongs that he did at Newmarket back in May. At the start of the World Pool, of course. Never So Brave in there for second for all the reasons that Graham elaborated upon. Rosalia in for third. It's just been that sort of 20-25 for them. And Fawnal Angel for fourth. So 11, 6, 8 and 10.
If we are to agree on any race, I thought it would be this one. And look, Field of Gold, if there is to be a race which is ripped apart by one horse on British Champions Day, assuming all is equal since his eclipse in July, I think Field of Gold is that horse, and I hope he wins and puts on a show. Moving on to the big one, it is the race for the day. It is Kipco British Champions Day, and this is the Champion Stakes, 2,000 metres. It's the final Group 1 on the day. It's the penultimate race from a World Pool sense, and indeed on the schedule of the day. 4:05 the local running time, and it was, you don't have to go back that far, the final race in the career of the mighty Frankel back in 2012. These are the 11 declared in 2025. Almacam, Calandagan, Economics is back, First Look, Fox Legacy, Ombudsman, Prague, the improving Almeric, Delacroix, Devil's Advocate, who's got an important role, as does, you would imagine, Mount Kilimanjaro. Right, let's get the thoughts of Graham Cunningham and first up John Blance alongside. Let's go back to this very race last year. We had a little bit of a shock from a price perspective as regards the winner, but Calandagan and Economics were built as the big two. They meet again.
This is a tough view for Calandagan fans from last year. He got a slow start from Gate 1, so Gate 1 went from a blessing to a curse very quickly. He had to work his way through an overpopulated race down there on that rail. When he finally got through, he thought, yes, this is it, he's going to put the race to bed. Then suddenly Antmart appears from a different part of Berkshire to nail him. No problems with the faster ground on Saturday afternoon. No problems at this trip. He's a world-class performer. I think he's going to be tough to beat.
John, what if I said to you that Antmart, the winner, was the lowest rated Champions Stakes winner
worse,
this race went to Ascot?
Just jab him a bit.
He couldn't win it last year. How can he win it this time? I'm playing devil's advocate.
I'll tell you what, they talk about the trip for this horse. His best ever performance was when he was second to City of Troy in the Juddmonte last year in a race which was not run to suit him whatsoever. He absolutely surged home in incredible times, and he nearly overhauled a world-class horse who got first run on him. 10 furlongs, not a problem at all. He's all-class, this horse.
Highly consistent.
I remember the write-up at the time said did well in the circumstances. I completely see it. Right, one of the stories of this season has been the matches between Delacroix and Ombudsman. Let's go back to the first of them, Graham, back in July at Sandown.
Yeah, this is round 3 this weekend, and the first 2 rounds weren't exactly Hagler and Hearns. They weren't explosive. They were somewhat complex in a way. This performance at Sandown was excellent from Delacroix. It came in a bit of a sit-sprint type of race. I think Ombudsman didn't run his race efficiently. He's there in the Godolphin colours, John. I think he races a bit closer to the pace than is ideal for him. He wanders a bit when he sees the front. And Delacroix, who looked a million at one point, comes screaming through to nab him on the line. In short, I'm not sure this is a perfectly accurate guide to how good these two are.
I think Ombudsman is better in a truly run race, and he didn't get that here. Delacroix was an amazing performance to win. He was on plan D, wasn't he, or something, Ryan Moore, as Aidan O'Brien said. So, difficult to split them. I think there is going to be a strong gallop, though. You mentioned that when you were doing the run. There's going to be a strong gallop here. I think that will suit Ombudsman. So I've got him just above Delacroix, but Calandagan above the pair of them.
Well, Ombudsman at York, Graham, had his own pacemaker who, after Kirat, only a few weeks later, we had a little bit of a murmur, didn't we?
Burcastle is the horse, Rab Havlin, miles clear. I think most of the other European jockeys were cursing the Japanese jockey on Dodus for not carting them up a little earlier. But have a look at this, chaps, and I came away from this race thinking, right, I'm pretty clear on my mind that Ombudsman is a somewhat better horse than Delacroix. It is an unusually tactical race, but look at the way he quickens in relation to Delacroix. Delacroix stays on strongly to get secondly, but this is one of the best races on planet Earth, and Ombudsman wins it running away, just as he did in the Prince of Wales's at Royal Ascot.
See the horse,
world-class 2,000 metre horse.
The horse disappearing out the back of shot came
the Arc winner.
Came last, and he won the Arc turrets.
I mean, it was a very funny race. But Ombudsman, in the last 2.5, 3 furlongs, showed his class there, I thought.
Yes, he did. So we're going to get the rematch. Since then, though, John Blance, Delacroix has gone back to his homeland, this beautifully bred horse, and won another Group 1, which was the Irish Champion Stakes, where he quickened up in the style of a superstar.
And Mount Kilimanjaro gave him a lovely lead into the race, a beautiful pacemaker's performance in a year of good pacemaker performances. But look at this as well, the way Sumion sort of slaloms around, gets the run up the inside and then brings the horse towards the grandstand rail as well. Yes, he had the perfect race setup and he was the best horse on the day, quite considerably here. But I'm not convinced on the basis of the York form that he can get past Ombudsman under these conditions on Saturday afternoon.
A couple of stats here. Aidan O'Brien on this day is 1 from 34 since Magical's 2019 Champion Stakes win. He's 0 for 25 with colts in the Champion Stakes down the years. I'm not damning Delacroix with that, but I think when you get to one of these big three-cornered head-to-heads in an elite Group 1 race, from a Whirlpool point of view, you need to toss one of them if you're going to find real value. And for better or for worse, Del Boy is getting tossed by me.
Bye-bye, Del Boy. John, if there is to be one to shake up the established order, is it Almeric?
Possibly not, although as a horse going in the right way. I mean, this is a very good performance at Airolo, not necessarily fully franked subsequently, but only start 5 on Saturday afternoon. So he's graduated from sort of listed Group 3 level. This is a big ask. I haven't got him in the numbers. I think he's the type of horse who's going to do even better next year as a 4-year-old grade.
I like him. Autumn Improvers are dangerous. Now, don't get me wrong. The bar is at plus 125 levels here with 3 horses. So it's asking a huge amount for any of the rest to hit that level. But he's improving fast. He's up in class in a major way. But in this fella, Almeric and Fox Legacy, Andrew Balding has 2 horses who are in rare form at the moment.
Doesn't he just? It looks like... We wanted it when it looked like the entry stage and you looked at the weather. You wanted it to turn out to be by no means a damp squib. And everything on paper makes this race, the Kipco Champion Stakes of 2025, Graham, look very special indeed. Your selections, please.
Yeah, from a British point of view, perhaps a European point of view, this is the race of the season and it's not even close. So I hope the big 3 deliver. It's 6, 2, 8 and 5 for me, with Ombudsman just ahead of Calandigan.
Going to go with Calandigan. A lot of things have been said about this horse, often erroneously, and I think he'll be fine, regardless of how the race is set up. But if it's going to be set up for the kind of pace that we think he's going to get, that'll just give him a lovely drag into the race, and I think he'll win. Ombudsman in there for second, Delacroix for third, and Economics, it'll be the training performance of all time if William Haggas can get this horse to win. And I think they've got thoughts about maybe another race or 2 towards the real back end of the campaign. But he can still run a decent race on Saturday afternoon, finish 4th.
Watch and enjoy, and if you are having a bet, the very best of luck. I'm an Ombudsman fan as well. It should be a real showstopper at Ascot on British Champions Day. Final race preview is, well, it's a trappy conclusion. It's the Balmoral handicap. It's run over the straight 1,600 metres. They'll have used that earlier in the day. The elite horses in the QE2. These aren't bad by any means, but it's more of a puzzle, you would imagine. Certainly if earlier in the day goes to script. 1,600 metres the distance. Maxfield declared. Holloway Boy's got loads of class. He'll be going back to the Middle East. Native Warriors in good form. Godwinson. Further down the likes of Cerulean Bay. We'll be talking about Great Acclaim, ditto that. 5th column. Under William Buick, he might have had a good afternoon by that point. Hafi Alain, Crown of Oaks, who's been a handicap talking horse for a little while. Oliver Show, Greek Order, Theory of Everything. And down at the bottom is Bo Pedro for David O'Mara, who's won this race. He's had a big price winner or 2 down the years. Right, let's go back to another Whirlpool meeting, John Blance, and chiefly look at Great Acclaim, but a number of these were involved at Glorious Goodwood.
Yeah, quite a bit of water has passed under the bridge since then, but these 2 horses that we're going to look at in more depth here have both run really well subsequently too. Great Acclaim got a lovely run round here, the kind of archetypal Goodwood, just off the back of the speed down on the rail. Native Warrior had to pick his way through. They've both gone on to win subsequently. Technically speaking, at the weight, Great Acclaim is better off than Native Warrior, but Native Warrior, Graham, the last 2 starts has shown himself to absolutely love that weight ride at Ascot, and he'll get that again on Saturday afternoon.
Under a certain Jamie Spencer, yes. James Doyle takes over on Native Warrior this time. Both those wins at Ascot were 7 furlongs. I don't think a mile should trouble him, but the handicap is starting to be quite punitive now with the £6 penalties up to a mark of 109. Great Acclaim is just a byword for consistency. Looks highly likely to run his race again.
Some more Whirlpool, Graham, as we go back to York, the Ebor meeting. I know this horse has run since, but let's have a look at 5th column.
Yeah, one of my top stats of the day, and I know you'll agree there have been so many. John Gosden, along with son Thaddeus, has saddled the runner-up in this race 5 times without winning it, and one was Lord North, subsequent Group 1 hero. Here comes fifth column, really well backed at York in a warm, what's always a warm 3-year-old race, and he doesn't do it in flashy style, John, but he lands some pretty good bets in workmanlike style. Perhaps 1 or 2 excuses in the Cambridgeshire last time.
Yeah.
But can he beat the Gosden Hoodoo in this race?
Well, he ran a pretty good race in the Britannia if you go back quite a long way to the middle part of the summer. Here, interestingly, he got stall 4, which is low numbers are massively advantaged in this race at York. He didn't really get a stall 4 type run round, so it was a good effort. And yeah, he was on the wrong side of the track in the Cambridgeshire, so I'm willing to forgive him that. I think he'll go quite well.
Let's have a look at, I mentioned earlier, David O'Mara's got a good record in this race. He's won it a few times, including with the outstanding Lord Glitters. We didn't know that necessarily then. One of 3 horses in this particular race this year who go under penalties, Cerulean Bay, Graham, as we take in the win at Goodwood not so long ago.
Yeah, it's very recent form, and it's interesting form. Rider Daniel Tudhope summed him well, no stopping him at the moment. Second Goodwood run on the spin. He travels into the race beautifully, and if you look at the ratings, even with the penalty, he's slightly lower in the ratings this weekend. So I have to put him in my numbers, John. But there's another O'Mara horse, grey horse, Theory of Everything, ran pretty well here too.
Yeah, got a bit discouraged, I think, by not getting a run with about 1.5 furlongs to go. But then when the gaps did appear, stayed on okay. It's going to be a big price. There are lots of chances in this race.
There are indeed. And we've had an 80-1 winner in the not too distant past. I know that you want to put up a long shot in this.
The few horses I want to talk about here, we haven't seen on VT. Give me a minute, gentlemen. Crown of Oaks didn't really shine in Ireland last time, well, when fancied. Prior to that at Ascot, yes, it was 2,000 easy ground. He absolutely bolted up, and that form is gold-plated. Have a look at it. It's worked out beautifully. Have to give him a chance from a high draw. Then Shout, who has been very progressive and bolted up in a decent race here at Ascot last time. The long shot I'm talking about, and he is snaky. He is very, very tricky indeed, Oliver Show. But he went very close to winning the first big mile handicap of the season, the Lincoln. And if he's in the mood, he can run well at a massive price here. Last but not least, Cerulean Bay, 13, 12, 15, 6. And if we can snag the Quinella in the Balmoral, John, there'll be no quarrel from me.
No quarrel in the Balmoral, no. Shout on top for me. Oisin Murphy seemed to work his magic on this horse last time out. Had been a pretty bad starter prior to that. Used to blow his chance at the gate. But I think Murphy just found the key to him last time out. It was a very nice performance indeed. So I'm going to go with him to repeat that. Native Warrior has gone up miles in the weight. He's got a very tough Ascromer from that perspective. But the race will be run to suit him in there for second. EBT's Guards run terrific all season. And Greek Order in there for fourth in the Royal Hunt Cup, which has worked out extremely well.
This horse has been on his travels, got cheap beasts on for the first time. I actually think he can outrun his odds. Greek Order is a good animal. Right, thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you to John and to Graham as well. And that's not just for today, looking ahead at Ascot, and do enjoy the day, but throughout the whole season, as we enjoyed from May through June, July and into the autumn as well. Every World Pool preview. Lots of winners, lots of good racing dissected. The very best of luck, whatever you're going for this Saturday, and enjoy the racing.